college basketball. Hearing that, what do you want to see tonight, Matt?
I want to see if they make any adjustments defensively. You know, they're committed to the switching. Are they more aggressive, especially in pick-and-roll coverage? Do we see Bryce Hopkins continue to switch, even though he's struggling guarding guards and keeping guards in front of him? Maybe we see some trapping on ball screens. Maybe we even see some trapping with SJUBB Ejiofor trying to be way more aggressive.
When he says win, what does that mean to me? It means urgency. You have to have a desperation and a desire to win this game. But for them, that is, are you going to defend? Are you able to guard your yard? And if you are still switching, how are you keeping guys in front of you? Are you giving right space to the right players? You understand personnel. Are you defensively rebounding the ball? I continue to come back to that. If they don't this thing, Bulldogs top 20 offensive rebound rate, that is a problem. That comes back to urgency too. Are you playing collectively together with a desperation to win a game? That when you look at it too, with their resume and their record and where they're at in the Big East, you got to win this game. If you think you're going to be able to compete to win this league and get to the spots you want to get to, you got to win this game on the road, which is never easy.
You think they will, Matt? How do you see this matchup?
I like the response by St. John's in this one. Coach Pitino, Hall of Famer, he'll have his team ready to play. Don't sleep on Coach Mata. Won a lot of basketball games in his time too.
You heard the DraftKings breakdown. I think this is going to be a close game. I think this is going to be a close game. I think this is a game where Butler's fans and their team want this challenge. And this is a team that's lost 3 straight. They are hurting right now. Are they going to play with the desperation? It's always easier to do at home.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what that victory might look like. We are getting set for game 1. A couple of games coming your way tonight on Peacock. St. John's and Butler is game 1. Nick Reed and Nick Ba on the call. And we will see you at halftime. Take it away, gentlemen.
Jack, thank you so much. Inside Hinkle Fieldhouse, where the sense of urgency is high tonight. St. John's and Butler both coming off of losses and knowing the importance of what tonight means, trying to get back in the win column early in Big East play. Let's take a look at the starting lineups now. Right in the middle for St. John's, Dylan Mitchell started the first 2 games. He's been on the bench since then, but Rick Pitino said they needed a 3-big lineup tonight to counter the size and the rebounding of Butler.
Shows the respect that Rick Pitino has for the Bulldogs' ability to rebound the basketball. Mitchell, Hopkins, Ejiofor, those are the 3 best rebounders for the Red Storm. Those 3 guys need to set the tone on that defensive glass. We talked about it offensive rebounding-wise. The Johnnies are top 15 in the country. But on the defensive glass, they've struggled. That's 100% the reason why Mitchell's on the floor.
For Butler, meanwhile, they're trying to get a lot out of Finley Bizjack, who's been on a little bit of a shooting struggle recently. But they feel like he's due. Second leading scorer on the team for Butler. Rick Pitino in year 3 with St. John's, his 38th year as a head coach. National Coach of the Year a season ago, a 7-time conference Coach of the Year with a pair of national titles. Thad Matta, meanwhile, on the other side for Butler, his 5th season in total at Butler, 4th year in his 2nd stint. 3 times was named the Big Ten Coach of the Year at Ohio State. Off we go inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. St. John's, the regular season Big East champions a year ago, outright for the first time in 40 years, but out to just a 9-5 start after being preseason top 5, and they are trying to get it turned around tonight. This is Ian Jackson. Used to play off the ball. They put him into the point guard role over the last month. He's off the mark on the first shot, and it's Butler's first possession of the night.
I think the free throw line is something my eyes are going to be watching the entire game. Both these teams extremely reliant on getting almost 20 points per game from the line.
Michael Ajayi, the nation's leader in double-doubles, was shut off on the drive by SJUBB Ejiofor. 2 teams that do get to the free throw line a lot. Very physical teams offensively. Bizjack off the hesitation, cannot finger roll it in, and Ejiofor's got his first rebound of the night.
I like the idea of trying to get a 2, something easy at the rim before you start casting those long-range threes. But Bizjack's got to get back in the groove from beyond the arc.
2 of the top 3 scoring offenses in the Big East, both north of 85 a night. That one swirls out for Jackson. He opens the night 0 for 2.
Well, the one thing with Mitchell being on the floor, that lane's going to get pretty clogged up because between Hopkins, Ejiofor, and Mitchell, those are 3 guys that are not 3-point shooters. So Butler's going to be able to pack that lane and potentially be in better rebounding position.
Whistle goes against Bryce Hopkins, the transfer from Providence. St. John's had the last 13 games, they went a 3-guard starting lineup. They go back to a 3-big starting lineup for the first time since game 3 of the season. Do you think that has some effect early in the game?
I do. And you hope that it sets the tone defensively and keeping Butler off the glass, but offensively, certainly not as potent of a shot-making lineup as when they have the 3 guards out there.
Hopkins accelerates in the paint with a shot fake. It spins out. Got his own miss. Jackson, bounce, edge of 4. Had 33 last time out, a career high, but he leaves his first attempt short, and a foul against Ian Jackson.
Hard to ask for 2 better shots than that for Bryce Hopkins. I love the paint mentality for him. He got 2 nice ones right at the rim and just missed them. And St. John's, they're very foul prone because they're very aggressive. Hopkins gets a foul about 90 feet from the hoop there. Ian Jackson, a silly one at half court. It'll be interesting to see how Butler handles the ball, in particular the freshman point guard Robinson, because the Red Storm just contest everything. Every pass, everything is difficult with how St. John's pressures you.
Michael Ajayi drops it off underneath. Extra pass. Bizjack got the defender to fly by and drills the step back 3. That's got to feel good for him.
Absolutely. At shoot-around, he was splashing them at shoot-around. He has not lost his confidence. Most importantly, Thad Matta has not lost confidence in Finley Bizjack.
9 for his last 49 over the past 7 games for Finley Bizjack. Xavier Robinson called for the foul here. You said it, confidence is still at an all-time high right now for Finley Bizjack.
Yeah, he's got a scoring mentality and really a pretty good job trying to run him off the 3-point line. Ian Jackson, shot fakes, sometimes that breaks the rhythm, but Bizjack able to get his feet set and drills it.
You asked Thad Matta, are you saying anything to Finley Bizjack? And he simply said, keep shooting.
keep him firing.
Sellers is off the mark, and the Johnnies have begun the night 0 for 5 from the field in the first 2.5 minutes.
Got some high-quality looks. Be interesting to see how the pace in this game. Obviously, St. John's wants a faster-paced game. We asked Thad Matta, hey, are you willing to run a little bit? And he said, yeah. And sometimes when St. John's runs, they don't throw it to the big fella. So it can kind of be an area to keep an eye on is how much Ejiofor is getting touches if the game gets going up and down the floor.
For Butler, is it more of a pick your spot kind of thing?
Yes, because I don't think you want to get into a track meet with St. John's, but you got to pick and choose your opportunities when you have an advantage to push it.
Ajayi clears out with 8 on the shot clock. Step back, drops it off underneath. Drayton Jones with the left hand is way off the mark. Finley Bizjack got planted by an Ejiofor screen.
Get the ibuprofen ready for Bizjack. Running into Ejiofor full speed. Wow.
Hopkins rises, mid-range jumper is pure.
We were talking, I sometimes think Hopkins falls in love with the long-range 3 too much. He's a much better mid-range and paint player. I like his mentality early, trying to get things where his strengths lie.
First 2 points of the night for St. John's after an 0 for 5 start from the field. Comes from Bryce Hopkins, who struggled to shoot against Providence the other night. This is Robinson, the true freshman point guard. Lost the handle, and it goes back to St. John's. They are without Jalen Jackson, their starting point guard, a grad transfer, meaning Robinson, the true freshman, is in to start.
See one more time, just running right into Ejiofor. Certainly his hair flopping everywhere made it look even look more pronounced as well.
First team all hair.
That's right.
Ejiofor still scoreless until now.
Pretty jumper. He knocked down 3 threes against Providence. We asked Rick Pitino about Ejiofor and his threes. He said, I prefer him in the last 10 seconds of the shot clock.
Bizjack, nice ball fake, delivers a pass underneath, and Traore is just off the mark, but he has free throws coming up on the other ends. Slow offensive start inside Hinkle. St. John's with a quick 4-0 spurt has an early 1-point lead. The iconic Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Very few places in college basketball have the history that this place has. A beautiful venue inside and out for Big East basketball here on a Tuesday night. Bryce Hopkins, we saw him get off to a nice start, hit a shot moments ago, but 2 early fouls tonight has him on the bench in the first 4+ minutes of the game.
It'll be interesting to see if Coach Pitino wants to go back with him and how much he trusts him. Because certainly Hopkins has a physical mentality, and him picking up a 3rd foul, it seems like it would be problematic. And that first one was silly. It's about 90 feet from the hoop on the full court press. But you'd imagine for Hopkins, I would think the last 2 games for him have been really emotional games. Plays Georgetown and his former coach in Ed Cooley, and then of course Providence in the Garden. And there were some boo birds out there from Fire fans, and I'm sure there's a part of Bryce Hopkins that's just got a nice sigh of relief knowing those 2 games, at least the first time around, are behind him.
Yeah, I think that's just it, right? Sigh of relief. You get past those 2 games, and now it's okay. Let's focus on basketball.
Let's play some basketball.
Traore goes 1 of 2 at the line to tie the game. Team that gets to the free throw line a lot, but they shot a season low 14 against Villanova in that 18-point loss here in Hinkle on Saturday. Jackson weaving through traffic, lost the handle. Evan Haywood, who just came off the bench, absorbs contact and goes high off the window for 2.
So one issue with Jackson, he's got a negative assist-to-turnover ratio, and trying to limit those turnovers has been the big area emphasis. Just a run-out pick 6 for Haywood to get 2.
Not a natural point guard. He made the position change this year after being off the ball primarily his entire career. Haywood got a hand on it, slapped it off the leg of Ejiofor, and St. John's turned it over on back-to-back trips.
We talked about Bizjack and his importance in making shots. Haywood falls in that category as well, and it's always nice for a shooter to get a layup early on. Just a nice run out through the contact, and Haywood, 40% three-point shooter's got a layup.
Bizjack flares off the screen. It is way to the left. Going back to Haywood real quick for a moment, what a jump and roll he's taken. He played just 5 minutes a game last year for this Butler team. He's averaging more than 8 points a game off the bench and is typically the first guy off the bench for Butler.
An amazing rise for him. And he finished the season strong last year. He had 14 points against Boise State in the college basketball round and 9 against Utah. So sometimes that is a way of springboarding you into the offseason, but Haywood can really shoot.
Great feed from Ejiofor. He finds Sannon, who was a starter the last few games, came off the bench tonight.
Need Sannon to get involved offensively.
Michael Ajayi +1.
You got shooters in the corner, so you can hit that seam, that lane line. A lot of real estate for Ajayi to use that big body to hit that crossover, punch the gas, and get into the lane. It's where he is a tough matchup. Mitchell's doing a pretty good job, but it's too big of a body getting downhill at you.
4 straight double-doubles entering the night. Nation leading 12 in total. He cannot complete the 3-point play here. And this is where St. John's is a lead. When they have the chance to get out and run. Sellers, no, but look out. Dylan Mitchell on the putback flush.
Oh, you talk about hang time. Dylan Mitchell.
Out of nowhere.
Wow. He's a special athlete.
Now he's got the defense on Traore and forced the miss. Yeah, that's one way to put it. Special athlete. That dude can fly out of the gym. He's a freak. Mitchell inside. Shot was altered. Ajayi is tripped. Already the 6th foul against St. John, so the next one will put Butler in the bonus the rest of the way, but we got to have one more look at this.
Just watch him coming right down the middle of the lane and hang with the left hand, put it down. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous from Dylan Mitchell. Perfect fit, I think, for Rick Pitino and how he wants to play. He likes those switchable, athletic big guys. Can guard pretty much 1 through 5.
Ajayi, great job off to Traore.
Well, St. John's has going to be aggressive to rotate to block shots. So whether it's shot fakes or dump downs like that, it's going to be available.
Sellers missed a dunk, wide open, but an offensive rebound. Ejiofor. Ejiofor, and he's going to the free throw line. First foul on Michael Ajayi.
Michael Ajayi is doing a nice job getting into the paint and making things happen. Ejiofor rotates over. You just can't keep it off the dribble that easily. And Traore with the easy two.
Thad Matta told us rebounding tonight would be incredibly crucial, and already St. John's has 3 offensive rebounds and has led to some second chance opportunities. Take a look at the schedule upcoming here on Peacock. UConn and Providence tomorrow, as well as Creighton Villanova, 2 teams that have looked really good recently.
Yeah, and Villanova had an amazing second half here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse to knock off Butler on the road. Shot it great, really talented group Kevin Willard has. And Creighton lost a heartbreaker. They led by 16 on the road at Seton Hall. Let it evaporate. And Hines with the rebound putback to win it.
And Villanova was down in this building on Saturday at halftime, scored 55 second-half points to run away with that one.
And it really wasn't even necessarily that bad a defense. It was just better offense.
Evan Haywood won't get the bounce. Got the size advantage inside. They work it into Ruben Prey, and a foul is called against Yame Butler.
Prey's a guy that Rick Pitino said he deserves more minutes. He's just caught in a situation where the 2 guys in front of him are pretty darn good in SJUBB Ejiofor and Bryce Hopkins. But with Hopkins with 2 personal fouls, you could see a little more Prey.
Sannon, mid-range jumper, in and out. Rebound tapped around, and it's in the hands of Butler. For Butler. Ajayi working on Prey, muscles his way to the cup, and that man can float in the air.
He is really showing you his game off the bounce tonight. And you said it, that was a powerful, explosive 2-foot jump stop into that little floater.
Ejiofor, heart in the paint. That's an easy one-on-one bucket every time when he catches that deep.
When you get the defense moving side to side and let Ejiofor get an opportunity for an angle or a seal off of that defense rotating, he's a nightmare to deal with.
Haywood skips across court. What a finish! Oliogu Elabor for Butler has a chance at a 3-point play on the other side.
Oliogu Elabor missed the first 7 games with an ankle injury, but he's done a nice job making plays as he gets more and more comfortable. Takes Leotopoulos to the basket. Chance for 3 on the other side. Well, great movement on the perimeter can open up the post-up opportunities. SJUBB Ejiofor guarded by Traore. Watch just a simple handoff. Traore's going to get off the body of Ejiofor. What does that lead to? An in-the-paint post seal that is too easy for Ejiofor. And Butler's got to do a better job of either corralling the basketball, making vision difficult, or staying attached to his body. But it just goes to show you that if you get those big guys on the move on the perimeter and allow them to go get an advantage inside, it can yield pretty good results, especially for a guy like Ejiofor.
Already 6 points, 4 rebounds for Ejiofor, who's the current Big East Player of the Week, fresh off of a 33-point, 15-rebound game on Saturday. And Rick Pitino told you and I during shoot-around today, the effort level on this kid is scary. And more importantly, when the rest of his teammates see that the best player on your team is doing that, it gives validity to everything he does and sells.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And quite simply put, I think his best attribute might be his motor. Like, he just never stops. He's always moving. He's always physical. He's always leaning on you. He puts pressure on the defense, drawing fouls. And this guy is special.
And it's one thing for a guard to do that, but when a big man's constantly moving, it's even more special.
So when he barks at you to get him post touches,
you better.
I don't think you're going to bark back.
There's a whistle off the ball that goes against Xavier Robinson, the true freshman point guard, who was not expected to be the starter at the beginning of the year. Jalen Jackson, a grad transfer who was phenomenal at Purdue Fort Wayne the last couple of years, but Thad Matta has had to go to the true freshman, and he's played pretty well.
I completely agree. I think he's really played at a high level, which is hard. You know, in conference play, all of a sudden you're having to run the show.
Ruben Price sticks the three. Rick Pitino said they should get him more minutes, and I think they should.
Now 6 of 12 from 3. And he's skilled, he's long, he's confident.
Already the 6th tie of the game, a couple lead changes, less than 9 minutes into this one. Back and forth from Hinkle. Robinson carves his way to the path, leaves it for Jones, who got swatted by Ejiofor. Leotopoulos off the screen, buries the 3. 6 quick points in the matter of 2 possessions for St. John's.
He played well in spurts against Providence. He's confident as well coming off the bench. Both him and Prey. They just got a lot of good players in front of them, but those 2 guys are skilled and know how to impact things when they get in the game.
Bizjack, the blow by, the floater, +1.
I'd say right now, St. John's is having a hard time guarding the basketball. And that can be the case when you switch a lot of screens, but here Leotopoulos just gets off balance from the shot fake from Bizjack. And Bizjack's really good at that little runner. But right now, Rick Pitino, the first order of business, just corral the ball better.
The 3rd and 1 already for Butler, ties the game back up at 18. We've acknowledged the struggles that Finley Bizjack has had at times this season. If you remember last year, he kind of went through a similar stretch about this point, early January, but by the end of the month, he started going on a tear and was a completely different person.
Yeah, he was double figures in 13 of the last 17 games last year, so he really had it rolling.
There's a whistle off the ball. That is called against Butler. Oliogu Elabor called for the foul. And year by year, he's just continuously gotten better and better.
Yeah, I mean, those numbers just speak for themselves. But he came in with the reputation as a scorer, scored over 2,800 points in high school.
Is that good?
That's pretty good. That'll do. He's just added more to his game each season and progressed, which makes it fun. You don't see too many of those stories, guys just sticking around for 3 or 4 years and getting better.
Leotopoulos gets him back on the other end with his scoop and score.
He's able to set your full court pressure off of free throws and made baskets. Get it across that court here.
Running out of time, and they turn it over. St. John's has numbers. Good give. Ejiofor hammers it.
Oliogu Elabor just was way too casual and took too long to try to break the pressure. Leotopoulos wasn't necessarily that amazing of on-ball defense, but here you got to go. You got to come with the ball screen to free him up.
Oliogu Elabor goes coast to coast, can't finish. Offensive rebound and swatted away by Sannon. Zeller stop and pop in transition, and it's too strong.
St. John's, again, they're going to be disruptive and lean on you. And Oliogu Elabor having to handle the ball with Robinson on the bench. Turns it over, and Ejiofor gets an easy dunk. That could have been a 3-point play.
Ejiofor sure thought so.
I think he maybe does it right. And here, Robinson back into the game. But this stuff just wears on you. Just all game having to deal with full court pressure. Get you going maybe a little faster than you want to, but that's a high-quality look.
Jamie Kaiser buries the 3.
I think you do need to break the press with the mindset to score, because oftentimes you get past your guy, you got a numbers advantage. And Jamie Kaiser, one of the more important guys that isn't a star on this Butler team.
Ejiofor spins his way through the paint against Drayton Jones. Butler ball. And Jamie Kaiser, they are really excited to have him at full strength this year. Missed the entire season last year after an ankle surgery in October. They got him back about halfway through the year in practice only, about January. Thad Matta said there were multiple days in practice where he was the best player on the floor.
Yeah, he started his career at Maryland. Very highly touted kid.
Ajayi stripped and a whistle against St. John's.
Again, we said the free throw line is so important for both teams. You see Ajayi once again just into the body of Ibiano, and now back to the line.
It was an emphasis during shoot-around today. Thad Matta said St. John's will foul you. They are physical. You have to be strong with the basketball, but we are going to have opportunities to get to the line today. And already 9 team fouls against St. John's in the first 11 and a half minutes.
For both these teams, Butler averages about 18 points per game from the free throw line. St. John's almost 21 points per game, so it's a big part of their offense. Feels really important for St. John's.
Sellers. Ejiofor with a shot fake. Double team comes down for Butler and knocked it away. Oh, a whistle against Butler. Michael Ajayi immediately walks up to Thad Matta and says, please review this. And that's a big one because that's 2 on Ajayi.
Just digging on the post there as it looked like Ajayi and Robinson were making life difficult. And Ajayi might have cut it clean. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to review a play like that. It's not a reviewable play.
Thoughts on keeping him in the game with 2 fouls?
I did Butler's game at Creighton, and he got into foul trouble and ultimately fouled out, and it really changed the game. He couldn't play for the final 10 minutes, basically. But I don't mind it. And at some point, you got to trust guys.
A little bit of contact, no whistle. Here comes Butler in transition. Bizjack for 3. Got it!
9 for 49. Confidence, yes. In transition, lets one rip.
And if you saw that reaction, he's feeling it right now.
No Zuby Ejiofor and no Bryce Hopkins on the floor. But, man, Leo Topoulos is feeling it. 8 points off the bench.
For a guy who averages 3.5.
Yeah. That's hard to do.
Bizjack, shot fake, gets into the lane, takes contact, scores it, and he's got a chance at 3 a different way.
Finley Bizjack needs to get on track for the Butler Bulldogs. And he is playing with some confidence. Off the turnover, kick out, no numbers, no problem. I'll just rise and fire and bury a triple.
Finley Bizjack, 9 for his last 49 from 3, but Nick Vai, you said you felt he was due for a big game tonight. How's 11 points in the first 12 and a half minutes?
That was his first one that kind of allowed the sigh of relief, and then he was feeling himself. He got his patented runner to go there off of a turnover, kick ahead, drills a long-range jumper, and he has done a nice job being aggressive offensively.
Second leading scorer on the team, still 16 per game despite that shooting slump that he's been in. And we got the goodest boy. Butler blew the 4th. I don't get starstruck very often, but I'm telling you, last year when I got to meet him for the first time, get a picture with him, that was like a highlight of the season for me.
So if someone said, oh man, no, you call games. Well, who's the biggest celebrity? Was it crazy to meet Rick Pitino?
Nope, Butler blew the 4th.
Butler blew that had me going. Hey, just talk to the official. Pretty big adjustment. They reviewed the last foul and changed it. It's not on Ajayi. So He's only got one personal foul. I think they got it on Xavier Robinson. Robinson's got that foul.
That's big for Butler. Leo Topless has had the hot hand. Won't get the bounce here, and Kaiser skies for the rebound.
To go back to Bizjack for a second, sometimes we make the game really complicated. Sometimes your star's got to shine. Like, your star's got to play well. And Bizjack's one of the stars for Butler. He's not shot the ball well, and Butler's lost a handful of games.
He uses the screen here. Butler finds a curling Ajayi, tried to leave it for Traore, but it was slapped away.
Good activity from St. John's.
Leotopoulos hopping through the paint. Give him a chance at three. How good has this kid been tonight?
It is so hard, Noah, when you are living in a world where Leotopoulos has come into most games. He doesn't know if he's going to play 6 minutes. Is he going to play 16 minutes? Is he going to get 8 shots? Is he going to get 2 shots? That is a really hard world to live in, to stay confident. And so I am really impressed with the confidence that he has played with tonight and coming in and immediately putting his fingerprints all over this game offensively. I mean, he's got a couple of D&Ps, Noah.
Yeah, he missed the free throw there, but he has matched his career high in points already. 10 in 12 minutes tonight.
You just look at his game log. DNP against Bama, DNP against Auburn. Impressive.
Thad Matta's team in the double bonus here. So they've got free throws coming for the final 6:40 if they can be aggressive and get to the line here in the first half. The NBA is on NBC and Peacock. Monday nights, it's Peacock NBA Monday, and Tuesdays in primetime, it's Coast to Coast Tuesday on NBC and Peacock. Did you see Snoop Dogg on the Clippers and Warriors game last night?
Hey, I think he's coming for both of our teams.
I requested to do tonight's game with him, but they stuck me with you instead.
I would have completely understood. Who took my place? Snoop. I was like, I can't even argue with that one.
4-point Butler lead after the free throws. 6.5 to go before halftime. Sandin bounces inside to Ejiofor. He's got a one-on-one here. Works inside with the left. It's too strong. And Traore's got the board.
No double team coming from Butler. They're just wanting to dig down on Ejiofor when it goes into it.
Haywood muscles into the paint. He's called for steps.
That's what that pressure from St. John's can do. It just gets you going a little faster than you want to play, and that can lead to travels.
It's one of the first words out of Thad Matta's mouth today during shoot-around was take care of the basketball, and the Dogs have already turned it over 5 times.
I was struck at how intense St. John's shoot-around was. They were going live, up and down.
Leotopoulos off his foot. St. John's gives it back. 4th turnover for the Johnnies. Yeah, it didn't look like a shoot-around. It looked like a full-on practice.
It looked like a full-fledged practice this morning at about 10:30. And sometimes when you talk about urgency, you can't just talk the talk. You got to walk the walk as a coach at times.
Ajayi gave it right back. 3 straight possessions that end in turnovers. 2 for Butler, 1 for St. John's.
Love to see SJUBB Ejiofor get a touch. Something to get him on the move, get a seal on Traore, reestablish the big boy down in the block.
He sets a screen here for Sellers. Mitchell darts his way to the paint against Ajayi. No. And Ajayi's got the rebounds. Nation's leading rebounder at about 12.5 a game. Butler squeezing through the defense, and 2 free throws coming for Yame Butler.
Butler's done a good job driving these gaps, and with pressure defense, especially if they're denying these passes, you got to be willing to put your head down and get into the paint and make something happen under control, and Butler did a nice job.
9 for 11 at the line already for Butler, who shot a season-low 14 free throws on Saturday. They have made it an emphasis to get to the line tonight.
And again, St. John's is foul prone, so one of the issues is they do put their opponents at the free throw line a lot. But nevertheless, Butler's had an attack mentality.
They had him in the post, didn't work it into him. 8 to shoot. Ejiofor sets the screen for Sandin, gets all the way to the cup, in the air, and he's fouled.
Boy, Ejiofor was working hard and yelling for the ball for a lion's share of that possession that comes out and sets a nice screen for Sandin to get loose. He's another guy in terms of these guards in the transfer portal for St. John's is just a scorer. Like that's how he's wired, coming from Arizona State. But he's quietly starting to play with some consistency. Double figures in 6 of the last 8 games.
Had a great true freshman season at Arizona State where he averaged 19 a game over the final 5. Really hit a groove, and it has carried over here to St. John's. He finally ended a 2+ minute scoring drought with that last free throw. Haywood wide open, he connects.
Butler has made St. John's pay a couple of times with getting aggressive in the full court press situation with their shooters on the backside.
Sandin in and out, and Butler has a chance to run and add to their largest lead of the game. Instead, they give it away. 2-on-1. Sellers, powerful move to the cup. No, but he got his own miss.
Just an unforced turnover from Yame Butler. When you gift the Johnnies a live ball turnover, you might as well just put 2 points on the board.
As Jack blows right by Leotopoulos. Step back, mid-range fall away is off the heel. Sandin left alone in transition, and he cans the 3.
Nice little sequence from the Johnnies. Good play from Dylan Mitchell, under control, on-time delivery, and Sandin splashes it.
A 7-point Butler lead has quickly been cut to 2, and Thad Matta needs to talk it over. His team still with a 2-point lead, just under 3.5 to go before the break.
Hi, I'm Jack Collinsworth. Coming up on the Jeep Halftime Report. Finley Bizjack been on fire this half for the Bulldogs. Coach McCall, Dallin Cup will break that down for you. Plus, highlights from a surprising start between Duke and Louisville that we are tracking. Noah and Nick, we'll see you shortly at the half.
Jack, Finley Bizjack has been the catalyst today. Game high 12 for a Butler team that when you see 1-3 in conference play to start the year, Nick, you're thinking, not off to a great start. But the 3 teams they've played, or the 3 teams they've lost to in conference play, UConn, Creighton, Villanova, a combined 10-1 to start Big East play.
Yeah, and certainly, in particular, the game at Creighton could have gone either way. And Michael Ajayi fouls out, doesn't really play the final 10 minutes of the game, and yet Butler was right there. Have a really nice non-con win over Virginia as well. And so I think this is a very capable team, and they're showing you here in the first half.
St. John's is on a quick 5-0 run the last 2 possessions. They cut what was the largest lead of the game for Butler at 7 down to 2. Evan Haywood with a quick answer.
Great set play out of that timeout. Posting up Ajayi just to run a little pen-in action to free up Haywood.
8 points off the bench for Evan Haywood, who's taken such a big role this year. Ejiofor spins off the defense and lays it in.
Well, you got to lean on him so hard because he's such a load that he just spins off you quick, and it's an easy one.
10-4 already for Ejiofor, the current Big East player of the week. Jamie Kaiser swirls out in the 3, and Mitchell leaps for the board.
Look at Ejiofor run the floor.
They get it to him, he's fouled, and count the bucket. second. Basket interference, so the big man heads to the free throw line and a chance at a three-point push.
But Ejiofor, about 2 or 3 strides, really kicked it into high gear. And Mitchell saw him the whole way. That is so athletic, to sprint, to catch, and have the athleticism to finish through the contact. Big-time athlete.
His voice is one that is very much listened to in that St. John's locker room. When they lost to Kentucky, he went into the post-game press conference and said, I think every one of us on this team needs to look ourselves in the mirror and figure out what direction we want this season to go, and they've played better since then. Jack with a reverse, no. Rebound tapped around, and Ejiofor comes away with it, his 5th board of the game.
And you better believe Bizjack knew Ejiofor was looming around, and he had to alter that shot and just missed it.
Leotopoulos, hot hand off the bench for St. John's. That is way off. Haywood does not have numbers, and he wisely brings it out to Bizjack. 2 high-powered offenses, 2 of the top 3 in the Big East. They average more than 85 a game, and we've seen those 2 offenses tonight. Whistle against Dylan Mitchell. So that is free throws for Butler, who's been in the double bonus for the last 5 minutes.
Well, fouls are going to be something to monitor as this game progresses. Xavier Robinson has 3 fouls for Butler. That's the starting point guard. And Bryce Hopkins has only played 4 minutes. He got 2 personal fouls right away and has sat this whole half. And it's the bench for the Johnnies, I think, that have really been the story in this first half. 19 bench points for the Red Storm have saved some foul trouble for Hopkins. There he is sitting on the bench.
Yeah, just 4 minutes before he got his 2nd foul, and he's been sitting there ever since. Rick Pitino's team has fouled 13 times in this first half. They've got 4 players with 2 fouls.
Ian Jackson has 2, Hopkins has 2, Leotopoulos has 2, and now Dylan Mitchell has 2.
And you've probably said it to me 3 different times today before this game started that you thought the free throw line was going to be crucial in deciding the game tonight.
I know that's not a super exciting way to sell a game, is, hey, free throw line, watch for it. But it's true. Free throws and fouls, with how these 2 teams are wired, extremely important.
Sellers carves his way to the paint. They get a touch for Ejiofor. 1-on-1 against Drayton Jones, and a foul before the shot is called on Jones, the 6'11 junior. It's on the floor, but still free throws. Double bonus here for Ejiofor.
He's just so dang physical that you can't help but foul him. He drew so many fouls against Providence just because he's always on the attack. Where did he draw 16 fouls?
16 fouls, 23 free throw attempts on Saturday.
I mean, that is absurd.
Goes 1 for 2 here, pulls St. John's with a point, 90 seconds to play before halftime. This full court press has caused some issues for Butler a couple times tonight.
Especially, again, Robinson has 2 personal fouls. They're starting, or 3 personal fouls, excuse me, and Jalen Jackson is out for the year, who is their starting point guard. So ball handling, something to keep an eye on.
Finley Bizjack did do a decent amount of it last year. That's who they have running the point here, but Butler turns it over. Ejiofor might have gotten away with a step.
But some of that's point guard play there. It's Haywood having to initiate a post-up, and it's a turnover.
Ejiofor has a 1-on-1 again. Butler does not send help. Ejiofor can't take advantage. Butler ball.
You said it, Butler really sticking to their plan of not sending a double team. They've dug on the post a few times, but there, you're playing with fire, I think, if you're leaving Drayton Jones 1-on-1 in the post against a grizzly bear named SJUBB Ejiofor.
You asked that Ma today, how are you going to defend him? And he said, well, with a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you need to with a good player like that. You give somebody just with the same look for 40 minutes with the talent of Ejiofor, you're asking for it.
Bizjack rejects the screen, tries to get downhill, step back, mid-range jumper is pure.
Good offense beats good defense. That's all that was. That was pretty good from Sandin, but better from Bizjack.
Think he's out of his slump?
I think so.
Rick Pitino takes his use it or lose it timeout with 13 seconds to go. We've got the final possession on the other side here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. Two of the top three scoring offenses in the Big East, and with 13 seconds to go before halftime, we've gotten every bit of those two offenses.
Absolutely. The depth of both these teams are showing itself too, though, because foul trouble has been riddled both ways. But nice response from St. John's here in the final 4 or 5 minutes of this thing.
They were down by as many as 7. Rick Pitino's team went on a very quick 5-0 spurt to get it down to 2 at that time. It sits at 3, and they've got a chance to cut it to 1 or even potentially tie the game going into halftime.
13 on the clock here. You obviously, when this shot goes up, it is going to be a war for the rebound.
6 seconds. Sellers goes now. Off the flare. Leotopoulos, who's had the hot hand in this first half, swings. Prey at the horn. Got it! Ruben Prey ties this up at 42, and what a fun first half we've had in Indianapolis.
More bench production from St. John's. Leotopoulos hits that baseline. You hit Ruben Prey, another member off the bench, drilling a 3. 22 bench points for the Johnnies in the first half.
Bizjack with 14 for Butler. Ejiofor with 14 for St. John's as well. They're still at the monitor looking to make sure Ruben Prey got this shot off in time.
It's close, but I thought in real time it looked like it was out of his hands. Very confident play and smart play from Leotopoulos.
Oh, yeah.
It's out of his hands.
They confirm it's good. 10th tie of the first half takes us to halftime. 42-42 between Butler and St. John's. We'll send you right back to our Sanford studios with the Jeep halftime report. Jack Collinsworth, Matt McCall, and Dallin Cuff right after the break here on Peacock.
Welcome to the Jeep Halftime Report.
42 apiece. Dylan Mitchell, a nice putback slam here before he got that second foul and had to take a seat. And then Finley Bizjack. And Finley Bizjack has been feeling it. 14 points, 2 of 3 from deep, and that is one of them right there. 42-42. And welcome to the Jeep Halftime Report. Jack Collinsworth with the coach, Matt McCall, and Dallin Cuff. Close game, tie game. What have you noticed thus far?
Well, first of all, big 3 for St. John's to close that half out. They really, really needed that basket to go in. SJUBB Ejiofor been dominating in the front court. I love how they're trying to pull Butler's bigs away from the basket, get those guys on the run, hit them on some rolls. I still feel like they miss SJUBB Ejiofor so many times on the inside or even some late passes. But St. John's fortunate to be tied in this basketball game. Lefteris Leotopoulos comes off the bench. Averaged 7 minutes going into the game, played 11 minutes in the first half, had 10 points, been a bright spot for him. Still struggling guarding the basketball, still struggling keeping guys out of the paint, still struggling defensively. They tried to press some, be a little bit more aggressive, turned them over a couple times. They also lost some guys in the back of the press. Butler took advantage and knocked down some three-point shots. You think about it, Butler, 54% from the field in the first half, 63 down from the three-point line.
Shot quality. Their shot quality has been better than St. John's. Now, the turnovers have been a bit of an issue. The press has been feast or famine. They've gotten some buckets off it. They've given up some buckets. But Finley Bizjack, we talked about him before the game. He had to show out. He had to be good. He had to play with confidence. Well, he made the first 3 of this game. And I'll tell you what, I was worried, Coach, because he didn't just catch it and shoot it. Hesitated, made the shot harder, and then he still let it fly. And once he saw that go in, it was a little bit of odd rotation.
Step 3.
My man felt great. And now Leotopoulos, good offensively. Offensively, he's been bad defensively like the rest of the team. He gets in the lane and one, playing with tons of energy. This is out of that pressure again. Leotopoulos is a bad closeout from 25 feet. He's just off balance. His hands are up. His body's opened up like a gate, letting Bizjack go. How about another and one? He's got 14, playing with energy, playing with confidence. They have to contain the ball better, and they have to stay down on him, especially when he's playing like this. He's going to use that shot fake and get in the lane. That said, St. John's has defensively rebounded the ball well in this game. Yeah. Mitchell was in the starting lineup to affect that a little bit. They have to work on their shot quality. Stop settling for contested twos. They did that the first 10 minutes. They stopped that. They got some turnovers. They played through SJUBB, and they turned the tide of this game. They were down 7 with under 4 to play.
Huge turnover.
That big turnover going the other way gave them a chance, gave it cut it to 5. They made a big 3. They took a lot of momentum on the road into the half. We'll see if they can carry that into the second.
Yeah, and Butler, they had a lead on Saturday. We know how that game ended. How do they close this game out being a tie?
I think in the timeouts you're constantly talking about, guys, that game over the weekend has nothing to do with this game today. We have to continue to play the game the right way. We have to continue to take care of the ball. We have to continue to rebound the ball. We've got to be better on the defensive end of the floor. And here's the biggest key for them. We saw Bryce Hopkins go out with 15 minutes to go in the first half with 2 fouls. Michael Ajayi, in that game against Villanova, with 10 minutes to go in the game, fouled out. He's got 2 fouls now, too. He has to stay out on the floor for Butler to win this game.
Xavier Robinson has 3. So we've talked about some ball handling issues. He's their only point guard with Jackson done for the season. So he needs to stay out of foul trouble in the second half and can't pick up his early 4th. For St. John's, it is about guarding the ball. It is about rebounding it and playing in transition if you can, play ahead of the defense and play through SJUBB. Work on shot quality, play through him.
And here's the other thing, too, with Bryce Hopkins. If he's not going to come into this basketball game and play with a motor to start the second half because he's worried about playing foul, got to sit him down. Yeah. Got to sit him down and play the other guys.
Fair enough. Ejiofor, 14 points in that first half as well. Top 25 matchup in action right now. We are tracking a big one in the ACC. Duke taking on Louisville. A little surprise, perhaps, in that first half. How the Cardinals have found a rhythm at home. We'll tell you next. So let's check in on the number 2 Michigan Wolverines. A lot of people think should be the number 1 Michigan Wolverines. And this is Ivan Juric from deep. Couple highlights to start his day.
Yeah, my man Mike Rose trying to get these guys on the right track in Big Ten play. Going to be a hard thing to do against this Michigan team. Clicking on all cylinders, especially on the offensive end of the floor. 11 assists down up to this point in the basketball game.
You were talking about upset alert the 5 minutes into the game. What you talking about? Oh, yes, Michigan is taking control of this game. If they defend, if they rebound and they stop turning it over, they will blow out Penn State. But right now, 20 points for the Knee Lions on those 2 categories.
Starting to take control there. Number 6 Duke, number 20 Louisville, and Ryan Conwell set up for a trek.
Yeah, when you think about this Louisville team, you think about 3-point shooting. The most impressive thing that they're doing out there right now with this lead against the Duke Blue Devils, they're doing it without one of the best point guards in the entire country, and Mikael Brown Jr. But it's the 3-point shooting, Dallin. It's the 3-point shooting for Louisville, and it's the lack of 3-point shooting for Duke.
They got 10 made in the first half. That's like an onslaught. The big Booz is trying to bring them back. Conwell is lighting up. He's got 16. They're playing at home. They're playing with confidence without their star, but they were the favorites in this game, and for a reason. When you got the Yum Center behind it, that's a live environment. Duke game is always an event. And when you see those shots just keep going in, right now it's like hunker down, get to halftime if you're John Shire. And can we get out there and guard the ball better, keep them out the lane, and then try to run them off the 3-point line? But it's been a problem.
Can I get some of those frequent flyer points from Big Boozer? Because he's getting to every single game.
Might be a wheels up situation.
Yeah,
I'm not sure you're in that category, bro.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's frequent flying either. This is the biggest halftime deficit of the season there for Duke. How's Louisville done it, Matt?
Well, listen, it's the 3-point shooting. There's no question about it. And Duke has to be better if they want to win this basketball game defending the 3. Sometimes, too, when you go into a game and they're without one of their stars, oh, man, we're going to be okay in this one. We're going to be all right. They're not okay. They need to play in the second half like their hair's on fire if they want to win this basketball game. It is conference play. Every single game. Every single game matters. You're playing for a championship every single game. They got to get this thing figured out.
And this may be the game that determines the ACC champion. Like, we knew this early on in the season that Duke's got to go to Louisville. These are the 2 teams that seemed the favorites before the season started to win this league. And when you're playing without your star, are you going to elevate your play? Ali Khalifa's been outstanding. He's got 12 points. He's making threes. Like, he's playing at a high level. He caused a problem because the bigs have to guard him, and he can dime guys up. He can make shots right now. He's playing with incredible confidence. This team right now, offensively, you have to slow them down. If they can grind it to a half-court game, Duke has a shot, and Cameron's got to be outstanding.
I like it. We're playing some conference hoops here as well. Let's check out the Jeep first half stats of this game. All tied at the break. Here is what it looks like. 5 threes for either side. The free throws a little more on the side of Butler. It's 42-42 at the break. Second half is next.
This has been the Jeep Halftime Report.
Incredibly fun first 20 minutes inside Hinkle Fieldhouse has us tied at 42 apiece between St. John's and Butler. We welcome you back inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. Former Creighton Blue Jay Nick Baugh, Noah Reed with you. In a first half where St. John's committed 13 fouls and had 4 players with 2 fouls apiece, it was the guys you maybe wouldn't expect to lead the way. 22 bench points.
The guys off the bench were tremendous, and they needed to be productive, obviously, with Hopkins foul trouble, but multiple guys coming in and making things happen. Sandin in transition, knocking down the 3. Leo Topless, who I thought maybe had his best half of basketball as a member of St. John's, getting a turnover in the full court, driving and getting a bucket. This was the play to end the half in the kick out to Ruben Prey. So the bench really loomed large, as it can for both these teams, but really loomed large for St. John's.
Yeah, Butler also got 15 points off the bench as well, but Leotopoulos has matched his career high already with 10 points. Sandin and Prey with 6 apiece for the Johnnies in that first half.
And curious to see if Bryce Hopkins can get into the flow of this game. Only played 4 minutes, was saddled with 2 fouls, so sat for a long time here. Very important players got to get into the groove right away.
St. John's ended the first half on a 14-7 run after falling behind by 7, the largest deficit they faced in the first 20 minutes.
Both teams rebounded the ball defensively really well. These are 2 of the best offensive rebound teams in the country. Only 1 offensive rebound in that first half for Butler, and only 4 for St. John's. So clearly was a point of emphasis for both teams, and did a nice job through the first 20 minutes.
And all 4 of those for St. John's came early. Yes. Butler was great on the defensive glass to end that. Ajayi, the top rebounder in the nation at more than 12 per game, drops it off underneath. Drayton Jones with a kick out. Butler floater with no time on the shot clock, gets it to bounce through.
Really good patience late clock. Thought he was going to force the 3. Instead, puts it on the deck and gets the floater.
Sellers carves into the paint. Bryce Hopkins for 3. Got it. 4 minutes total in the first half because of 2 fouls. He sat the final 16 minutes. That's a really good sign.
In rhythm 3. You said it, though. He needs to just get into the groove. Foul trouble has a way of just crushing your offensive flow. Get a bucket. Now it feels like Hopkins is involved.
Butler gives it away. This is Ian Jackson all the way to the cup, and Finley Bizjack has whistled for a foul.
Turnovers are a major thing to watch for Butler. That's the 9th turnover, and Xavier Robinson not starting this second half because he's got 3 personal fouls. And so no true point guard on the floor. Bizjack's more of a scorer. Yame Butler's more of a wing. Jamie Kaiser's a wing. So if I'm St. John's, I am pinning my ears back, and I am really ratcheting up the pressure.
You expect them to go full court?
Oh, yeah. And do it trying to turn Butler over, not just making it work. I think you can get some turnovers. There's Xavier Robinson just sitting on the bench with 3 fouls.
I think a game like this shows you just truly how important he is. He only scores about 6 points a game, but man, that ball handling ability is great.
Yeah, because he's really the only natural point on this roster now that Jalen Jackson is out.
Ajayi isolates here against Dylan Mitchell. Step back, mid-range jumper is off target, and Hopkins has the rebound for St. John's.
Good defense from Mitchell.
Jackson spins through the lane, a foul against Butler on the floor. That is the 3rd on Ajayi for Butler, less than 2 minutes into this first half.
that's a tough one. Ian Jackson was a little out of control here, just attacking and victim of circumstances.
Yeah, I think so too.
I thought that might have trusted. Good set there from St. John.
And Butler practiced defending that same set a lot in shoot-around day, but St. John still gets a bucket off of it.
Got to be physical. It's not overly complicated just to screen the screener, but you've got to get into the bodies of these St. John's players. But I was going to say in the first half, that might have trusted Ajayi to play through a little bit of foul trouble. We'll see what he wants to do now.
Ajayi's still on the floor. He has the ball here for Butler. Attacking down the smaller Jackson. Help side comes over. That's a deep three. Jack way off the mark. Foul against St. John's on the glass. That is against SJUBB Ejiofor.
I think Finley Bizjack, you can make it from out there, but get in the scoring range. That's just too deep of a shot. Good recognition, though, as Ian Jackson was matched up with Ajayi, and so St. John's understood he needed help, and so help came. Almost Hopkins' third personal foul.
Ajayi gets into the paint. Butler squeezing through the defense and floats it in.
Butler, the Drexel transfer. Good drives to the rack to start this second half.
Ends a 7-0 run for St. John's, and they had their largest lead of the game, which was 5. Jackson, nice patience. Mid-range jumper, though, off target. Bizjack asking for a screen from Jones. He gets it. Kaiser rejects the screen. Nice shut off by Ejiofor. Bizjack circles his way into the lane, leaves it for Kaiser, elevates on a 3. And a whistle against St. John's. That's against Sellers on the glass.
Sellers got switched onto Ajayi, and he knew it was going to be a problem eventually. I thought Ajayi might try to go take him into the post, but instead Ajayi just wrestles him for that weak side rebound, and Sellers can't do anything but foul the nation's leading rebounder.
Yeah, not many are going to win a rebounding battle against Michael Ajayi. Oh, that pass hit the baseline when Butler threw it in.
Some of these turnovers have just been unforced as well from Butler. It's the turnover number 10.
Thad Matta knew that would be crucial tonight. He said take care of the basketball was important against that pressure of St. John's.
Let's pass. Hit the baseline, yeah, easy call. Don't see that very often.
Isn't it funny how you can really get into the detailed intricacies of X's and O's of basketball? And a lot of times coaches will tell you, take care of the ball rebounds. That's what it comes down to. Hopkins spinning through the paint. He's got 5 in the second half.
Just enormous that he had some positive plays early to start this second half, so he feels like he's in this game.
Had a quick bucket in the first half before the foul trouble, but he's got 5 points already in the second half. Kaiser stumbles and a foul. If that's Ejiofor, that's 3. It is. That's something to keep an eye on less than 4 minutes into the second half for St. John's.
Kaiser just trying to drive it off that closeout. So Ejiofor will take a seat, and Ruben Prey comes back in.
Provided great minutes in the first half off the bench, 6 points. Here's Ajayi against Prey, spins in the paint, banks it in.
All because you go for a steal on the perimeter. If you don't get it, you're in trouble, and Ajayi makes St. John's pay.
Mitchell has isolation on this side, a clear out against Kaiser. They're battling. Hopkins into the paint, and a whistle against Michael Ajayi. That is 4 on the nation's leading rebounder with just under 16 to go in the game.
Obviously a huge play there. Michael Ajayi trying to do what he can, attacking Ruben Prey, getting 2 to go down, but he's in foul trouble, folks.
Big East basketball is brought to you by Discover. With Discover It, fans can earn cash back on their game day purchases, and by Jeep. There's only one. 3-point St. John's lead inside Hinkle Fieldhouse early second half, and right before this last timeout, Michael Ajayi, the nation's leading rebounder, just picked up his 4th foul with still 15:50 to go.
Enormous point in this game to mark. There's a lot of basketball left, and Ajayi now will have to sit for a while. And we were just talking, there are certain guys you can allow to play with foul trouble, but guys like Hopkins, Ejiofor, and Ajayi, a huge part of their game is physicality. They just get into a lot of wrestling matches, going for rebounds, posting up, that they put themselves in a lot of situations that can lead to fouls. So we'll see how that Mata wants to handle Michael Ajayi for the final 15-50 of this game.
I think that's a great point, because if you're asking Michael Ajayi to dial back the physicality, you're asking him to not be Michael Ajayi.
Not doing what he does best, to play to his strengths. Same thing with Bryce Hopkins and SJUBB Ejiofor. What those guys do best is bang. They need to attack every rebound, post up, initiate contact, and that can lead to fouls.
2 free throws for Hopkins. He's already got 7 points in this second half after he played just 4 minutes because of foul trouble in the first 20 minutes.
Ready to shoot, had good penetration.
Haywood way off the mark on the 3 here. He had a couple in the first half.
And you can see John Diebler, assistant coach for Butler, yelling at Evan Haywood, shoot the ball. You got exactly what you wanted. You got a piece of the paint with Robinson and a spray out 3, and you turned it down. And against St. John's, those windows close quickly in terms of open opportunities.
Jackson way deep on the 3, and again, that's off the mark with an air ball. You would think with no Michael Ajayi on the floor, this is an opportunity for St. John's to pound the ball inside.
Agreed. And own the glass as well here, for as long as Ajayi is on the bench.
Pressure has been problematic for Butler. Almost turned it over.
Having to come with a ball screen 80 feet from the hoop is indicative of the situation.
Xavier Robinson, the true point guard, has been on the bench a lot with foul trouble. He's got 3. He is on the floor now and has the ball in the wind.
It's imperative he's not pick up that 4th foul.
2 to shoot, and ball's taken away. Here comes Bryce Hopkins.
Great recognition of the shot clock defensively for Hopkins, understanding that if Robinson isn't going to shoot it, he's going to pass it, and he just times it up perfectly.
14 St. John's points off 11 Butler turnovers, and the Johnnies have their largest lead of the game.
The old-fashioned pick 6. Bryce Hopkins understanding the shot clock, just runs through it, and now he's hanging on the rim in Hinkle Fieldhouse. It's all Johnnies here in Indy.
After playing just 4 minutes in the first half because of foul trouble, you think Bryce Hopkins was ready for the second half?
No doubt about it. And it's hard to get back into a rhythm and a flow when you're in foul trouble, but Hopkins got a 3 to go early, and now he's doing a little bit of everything, including running through a pass and slamming it home. He's only played 9 minutes and 44 seconds in this entire game, but he's got 11 points. He's 4 of 5 from the floor, and now Hopkins is fully in the groove of this game.
9 points on a perfect 3 of 3 in this second half. He struggled last time out against his former team, Providence, where he was just 3 of 13 from the field. But, man, has he been great to begin this second half.
Well, what did Rick Pitino tell us at shoot-around? He said Bryce Hopkins needs to be tougher. Well, toughness can be mentally as well, and dealing with foul trouble and enduring that, and he is making a huge impact now that he's on the floor.
7 is the largest lead of the game for St. John's. Couple ball fakes from Bizjack. He's offline again. He's just really been struggling to shoot it the last 8 games.
St. John's has disrupted shots at the three-point line, too. But these Butler Bulldogs got to be ready to shoot, Noah, when they get opportunities.
Jamie Kaiser on the deck. Him and Ruben Craig get tied up. And the possession arrow keeps it with St. John's.
I thought Finley Bizjack could have taken the first 3, and instead he shot fakes. And now Butler 0 for 4 from 3 in this second half.
Bizjack hit a couple threes in that first half, had a really strong shooting half where he had 14 points. Hopkins in and out on the jumper, his first miss of the second half.
Good look. And Noah Ajayi with 4 fouls. Someone's got to step up and take control of this thing offensively for Butler.
Bizjack wraps a pass back to Robinson. He attacks the baseline, goes up with the reverse, and gets it to fall through.
Good job recognizing that Traore had Ruben Prey sealed up the floor, so the baseline was vacant, and Robinson hits the baseline.
Robinson, a true freshman from Lawrence North High School here in Indianapolis, where he became the program's all-time leading scorer, previously held by Greg Oden. Sellers, contact, no whistle. He scores 2 anyways.
Strong drive from Sellers, who has been challenged by Rick Pitino to shoot more. Not just threes, just be more aggressive to score.
He was great at Stanford last year, had 14 points per game, got off to a quiet start to begin this season, but they want him to be more aggressive. Traore working on Prey. That's great one-on-one defense. The fall-away jumper is short.
You said it. The fadeaway from Traore is not Butler's offense. That's all because Ruben Prey was up to the challenge.
He's now got a touch inside against Traore the other way. And a whistle. Count it! Ruben Prey with some crucial minutes off the bench tonight for St. John's.
You said it. It was Hopkins in the first half in foul trouble. Now Ejiofor sat for a little while, but Ruben Prey and his ability to play the 4 and the 5 has loomed really large. And Rick Pitino told us, he said Ruben Prey probably deserves more minutes. It's just challenging with 2 stars in that front line ahead of him. Prey is coming up big in this game. And I think this move here, Noah, is indicative of how Fatmata sees this situation. Michael Ajayi coming back into the game. I think he sees that this game's getting away from Butler. You're going to go down swinging with your star.
4 fouls, and Ajayi is back in the game with 12:32 to go. Rick Pitino's team has been on a tear in this second half. Their largest lead of the game at 9 points. Prey misses the free throw.
And Ajayi be himself without picking up that 5th foul. Good switch from St. John's.
2 to shoot. Ajayi's got to put it up. Stripped away by Prey. 30 great seconds of defense from St. John's to force the shot clock violation.
All 5 guys in a stance and communicating. Just a perfect switch. Blew up the 2-man game on the right wing between Finley Bizjack and Michael Ajayi. And once again, Ruben Prey just making plays.
5 Butler turnovers in this second half.
Now some 1-3-1 zone. Butler's not played very much of this at all, but this is to protect the foul situation.
Leotopoulos off the heel on the 3. Almost got the rebound. Butler quickly the other way. Bizjack. Defense collapsed on him quickly. Prey with the block. Hopkins is fouled by Bizjack. What a start to this second half for Bryce Hopkins and St. John's, up 9 on Butler, trying to close it out on the road in Indianapolis. Sunday night, Justin Herbert leads the Chargers against Drake May and the AFC champion Patriots. Only one team will be left standing. It is Wild Card Week, powered by Verizon, Sunday at 7:30 Eastern on NBC and Peacock. You're looking at downtown Indianapolis right there, and NFL reminds me that if the season ended after Week 10, my Colts would be in Super Bowl contention, but something about 7 losses in a row to end the season doesn't sit well.
No. We need you focused.
Yeah,
we need you focused
We're
inside
back.
Hinkle Fieldhouse here, okay?
Thanks for letting me go on my rant.
Yeah,
I am back. St. John's and Butler tied at 42 at halftime. It's been a 17-8 start in this second half for St. John's. They've ramped up the pressure. They've been great on the glass. Everything going the Johnny's way.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bryce Hopkins, that guy right there, has really loomed large. And was curious to see how he would be able to get into a flow after the first half foul trouble. He has been tremendous, and then you saw that's graphic there. I think the disruption from St. John's defensively and the effort on the defensive glass has been really, really good.
14 points off of 13 Butler turnovers. Sellers down and out on the three. Fight for the rebound, and Bizjak's got it.
Back-to-back possessions of zone from Butler. Got 2 stops. It's more out of necessity, but we'll see if that Mata sticks with it.
Tough take. Oliogu Elabor goes to the free throw line for Butler. You say out of necessity, that's because Michael Ajayi for Butler 4 fouls in this game with still 11 plus minutes to go.
Yeah, for people listening at home, oftentimes if you have one individual player in foul trouble that's of extreme importance, sometimes sitting in a zone is a way to protect that player from picking up another foul, especially when you're Michael Ajayi and he's going to have to get matched up with Bryce Hopkins or one of these other aggressive front line players. Just stick him in a zone, and that can protect him a little bit.
Butler shot 14 free throws in the first half. It took them nearly 9 minutes to get their first 2 attempts in the second half. Still in this 1-3-1 zone with Ajayi in the middle.
Leotopoulos running that baseline. He was hot in the first half. See if he can free himself up for a 3.
Oh, got caught in the air. Somehow found Hopkins. That was not pretty, but it works.
Now Stegman. St. John's is
5 to shoot. Hopkins zips a pass inside, batted away by Drayton Jones, and St. John's has 3 on the shot clock.
See if Butler wants to match up or they'll stay zone in this baseline out of bounds situation. Look like they're matched up now.
Leotopoulos falling away on a 3, left it short.
Good contest from Bizjak. Couple of stops now with the zone.
Ajayi working on Mitchell. Ajayi battling with Mitchell. Fades away from the mid-range. It's offline. Jones cannot win the race to the ball. It's St. John's ball.
Pretty good one-on-one defense from Dylan Mitchell. One of the few guys in the Big East Conference that has the athleticism to hang with Ajayi when he starts to try to go to work at that mid-post.
A guy who has seen a ton of ball, playing in his 122nd career game tonight. A couple years at Texas, 1 year at Cincinnati, now with St. John's.
Screen this zone and get it to that elbow and kick it.
They get it to Prey in the middle. Leotopoulos one more to the corner. Good flash. Prey inside. No. Tip won't go for Hopkins. Ajayi's got the board. 5 straight missed field goals for St. John's. Butler trying to cut into this 7-point deficit. Good take. Lefty lane. Oliogu Elabor.
It's a mismatch on Prey. And I think it's a good timeout from St. John's here. You got to diagnose some things offensively.
Rick Pitino not happy. Butler on a bit of a spurt, and the Bulldogs have cut it to 5 with inside 10 to go. Inside Hinkle.
Oliogu Elabor, the freshman from Canada, senses an advantageous matchup with Ruben Prey out on the perimeter. Just drives right past him and gets the layup. Finally, Butler able to score after getting a bunch of stops in a row after going to this 1-3-1 zone. And that's why Rick Pitino called the timeout. He's got to provide some solutions for his group in manufacturing a set to get a better look against this 1-3-1 zone that Butler has thrown out there.
How do you counter a 1-3-1 zone?
You got to try to get the ball to that elbow, and guys got to be ready to shoot. So that's a good paint touch, but Leotopoulos has got to be ready to knock down a long-range 3.
Well short on a mid-range jumper for Hopkins. The ball stays on this end.
You also want to try to get it flattened out to the baseline as well. 1-3-1 has a way of just getting you to stand, and that's what St. John's has been doing. Now man-to-man in the baseline of bounds.
lost the handle. Jones has the defense on him. Hopkins, kicked out. Down and out on the three. Offensive rebound. Hopkins, he's got 11 second-half points for the Johnnies.
And Ajayi was on Hopkins. Ajayi has 4 fouls. He can't get physical on the block out, and he also can't get physical on the contest as Hopkins puts it back in.
Ends a 3-minute drought for St. John's. Despite going 0 for their last 6 before that, they've still got a 7-point lead. And Finley Bizjack was halfway down and out on the 3. A whistle against St. John's on the glass.
Just watch Hopkins on the putback. Who I really want you to watch is Michael Ajayi. And Ajayi understands he can't get into a wrestling match. And so watch, he just puts his hands up and basically says, just go ahead and lay it in. I am not going to pick up my 5th foul. Smart on Ajayi, smart on Hopkins as well.
Picked up his 4th foul really early in this second half. The nation's leader in double-doubles with 12. He is a monster on the glass. Has been held in check tonight by the St. John's defense. Bizjack carves into the paint, trying to bounce inside to Jones, and it was knocked out of bounds.
Right now, when Ajayi gets switched onto a guard, Butler has to punish St. John's for that and get him into the post. The Butler backcourt players got to recognize when a switch happens with Ajayi. Here, if you get a switch here, you got it back to Hopkins, but
Bizjack turns it over.
If I'm Butler, I'm sticking with this zone.
St. John's just 1 of 7 from the field since Butler went to that 1-3-1 zone. And again, I don't know if that was necessarily part of the game plan tonight, but again, it comes back to Ajayi having 4 fouls, and that's a way to keep him, trying to keep him from getting that 5th foul.
Well, it's important to always have a zone in your back pocket because you never know how the game's going to play out where you can need it. Obviously, Thad Matta and Butler, they're a man-to-man team. But at shoot-around, they worked on this just because you never know what could happen when you need it. St. John's, excuse me, a lot of zone. It's a nice cut from Ejiofor. Providence played some zone. Georgetown played some zone in the last matchup against them.
Butler turns it over for the 15th time in the game.
And again, I'm going to be a broken record, but sometimes pressure just gets you playing a little faster than you're comfortable playing. And Oliogo Elabor just got going a little out of control and lost it.
Butler has taken care of the ball really well until Saturday. Gave it away 14 times against Villanova. They've turned it over 15 times now tonight. Jackson, catch and shoot on the 3, sticks it.
Big response. And the reality is at some point, somebody's got to knock down a 3 when you see a zone. Jackson drills it.
First double-digit lead for either team. Mitchell with the steal. Euros around Ajayi and lays it in. Lead balloons to 14 on a 9-0 run for St. John's.
And again, Ajayi, he can't get too aggressive on the contest. But Mitchell showing his athleticism with another pick 6. And Thad Matta wants to talk things over.
All St. John's. Thad Matta trying to find some answers down 14.
He was a McDonald's All-American out of high school. Texas for 2 years, Cincinnati last year. Now the Johnnies rolling.
Thad Matta knew St. John's pressure would be a story tonight. Not only 16 turnovers, but a lot of them have been live ball turnovers.
You said it. It's not all turnovers are created equal, and the live ball turnovers are killer, and that's a part of St. John's identity, and it's been a part of Rick Pitino's identity for as long as he's been roaming the sidelines. His teams are disruptive and active defensively, and they typically turn that into points, and look at that. In some ways, that's the story of this game. St. John's being disruptive and getting points off their turnovers.
Meanwhile, St. John's has not turned it over in 18 minutes of game action. It was the 5-minute marker around there in the first half the last time they gave it away.
Trying to get Ajayi ISO'd.
Got a one-on-one against Hopkins with the shot clock at 8. Double team swings over. Haywood elevates for 3 and buries it.
Double team came on Ajayi and a good read. Stops the bleeding momentarily.
That 14-point lead was the largest for St. John's after this game was tied at halftime.
Now Butler goes back man-to-man. After a 3-4 minute sequence of zone.
Ejiofor gets pushed in the back. That's on Robinson. The point guard picks up his 4th foul.
It seems simple, but one of the more underrated things to look at with each game. It's a big part of the formula for St. John's, and Houston, for example, is winning the field goal attempts battle. Right now, 16 more field goal attempts for St. John's in this game because of what they've done in the rebounding column and in the turnover column.
I was actually whistled on Traore, so Robinson does not have 4. He still only has 3 fouls. Ejiofor hits the first. Well, game 2 of our doubleheader on Peacock tonight starts at 9 p.m. in the Big Ten in Madison. It's UCLA and Wisconsin, and then tomorrow, great schedule ahead of us that features 3 of the top 10 teams in the country. Perfect trip for Ejiofor, who's got 18 tonight, along with 5 rebounds.
He sat quite a bit of this second half with fouls.
Butler turns it over for the 17th time, and Hopkins with an easy 2. Matches a season high in turnovers for the Dogs tonight.
The story of this game.
And there's the season high.
And Hopkins also has consistently recognized that Ajayi doesn't want to foul. So once again, he turns. It's Ajayi that's between him and the basket. So he just goes right at him.
You can tell Hopkins is feeling it this second half. Isolates, fades away on a mid-range jumper. That's offline. Almost another turnover.
And it is.
Oh no, they're saying off Mitchell, stays with Butler.
Butler basketball.
5 turnovers in the last 3:40 for Butler, 9 total in the half. St. John's, meanwhile, has not turned it over in nearly 20 full minutes of game action. Robinson kicks, Kaiser, corner 3, way too strong. Lob into Ejiofor. Post away by Robinson. Here's Hopkins on the inside. Oh, it was blocked from behind. Then he regathers and scores.
A couple of good reads from Ian Jackson, too. The early post up to Ejiofor and then seeing Hopkins open underneath the rim.
St. John's has blown this game open with a 15-3 run late in this second half.
It's been the defense throughout the game, and that was the identity of St. John's a year ago. They were an elite defensive team and offensive rebounding team. Your identity's got to shine through, and this group has done that tonight.
The glaring weakness a year ago was they couldn't shoot the 3 very well. They shoot it at 35% this year, second best in the Big East.
339th in the country in three-point percentage a year ago. The big point of emphasis in the transfer portal was getting more shooting.
A 10th Butler turnover of the half. Does not lead to 2 points. Ajayi trying to sprint out in front of the pack. Spins his way through the defense and put Mitchell on a poster.
I'd say that's pretty athletic.
Yeah, you think?
Goodness. There's some dudes on the floor tonight.
You're not kidding. Ejiofor bounces inside. Mitchell with the bucket.
Smart. Mitchell sees Robinson's on him, just buries him underneath the basket. Easy point in the paint.
This Jack trying to work his way around Mitchell.
Mitchell's defensive versatility. Just, look at this guy guarding everybody. Eyes on Ajayi.
Ballway jumper from 15 feet. The entire 20 seconds that Butler had the ball there, the on-ball defense came from Mitchell.
Ridiculous. Got the starting nod tonight. He's played well. Played to his athletic ability.
42 apiece at halftime. St. John's has outscored Butler 34-7 in the last nearly 16 minutes.
It's been a really impressive second half for St. John's. I thought it was the bench that held things down in the first half, but it was the stars shining in this second half. But it's the defense has been there the whole game.
Now the bench for St. John's scored more than half their points in the first half. Haywood, step back over Bray, in and out. Whistle goes against St. John's, so ball stays with Butler. That is on Ejiofor. 4 on Ejiofor with 4:01 to go. 1-1 here for Drayton Jones.
Mitchell gets a sip of water, one play, right back in the game.
Literally, that's about it. He walked over the bench, took a drink of water, went right back to the score table. Drayton Jones, the line, is a pretty cool story. He played at Oak Hill Academy in high school, which is where Carmelo Anthony went. Despite playing for that kind of program, really under-recruited out of high school. Went to South Carolina State for a couple years, entered the portal, came here to Butler, and when he signed his NIL deal here with Butler, he took $20,000 of that and donated it back to the program at South Carolina State because he said, they are the ones that believed in me first and gave me a chance to live out my dream.
That's really cool. So often you see those low and mid-majors do a good job producing and developing these players that go on to the power conference level.
Sannon created space, off the mark, Ajayi leaps for the rebounds. Haywood tried to work it inside to Jones. He was saying it was tipped, but the officials say it's a turnover and St. John's ball. 3:33 to play inside Hinkle Fieldhouse, and a strong second half from St. John's has them up 15, looking for a road win. Butler Blue gliding across the floor, just as the figure skaters will be across your TV screen this weekend. America's top skaters look to be crowned national champions. That's this weekend on NBC and Peacock. Butler Blue's the best, isn't he?
He is. Cruising in that thing.
Well, his Bulldogs down by 15. Butler did challenge the last call right before the timeout. It was called on the floor as last off of Butler. They're trying to say that it was tipped by St. John's. Let's find out. Definitely not on the backside, but maybe up top. Maybe by Mitchell up top. But I don't think right there.
Boy, that's tough.
Prior to the timeout, Butler challenged the ruling on the floor. The challenge is unsuccessful. They will be charged a timeout and have 0 challenges remaining for the game.
Well, that's big, especially what you just heard there at the end. Butler will go the final 3:33 without a timeout.
You might as well have challenged it, obviously, in this stage of the game, given the score. It's going to be a really tall hill to climb.
Plus 15 second half for St. John's after this game was tied at the break. Trying to bounce back from their first Big East loss of the season, a game that they led for 36 minutes on Saturday against Providence. They ended up losing by 6 in the Garden.
Got up 13-0 to start the game against Providence.
Mitchell inside to Bray. He banks it in, and the lead expands to 17.
Really impressed with the depth today for St. John's. Everybody that's come in has made a positive impact.
Bizjack +1. Strong take and finish plus a free throw coming for Finley Bizjack, an 81% free throw shooter.
Bizjack got it rolling a little bit early. only 2 for 6 from 3 right now, but you get the sense that he maybe broke a little bit of the shooting slump.
What was that call? The bucket counted. There was some whistle, but it's St. John's ball.
Just as complex as you.
Oh, basket interference, no foul. That's what the call is. Jackson with a strong take for St. John's, lays it in. Robinson snaps a pass inside. Trey Orr with the finish.
Robinson getting in foul trouble was big in this game. He's really the only point guard now on this roster after Jalen Jackson's injury. So him getting in foul trouble, if there's one team you need your ball handling, it's St. When you're taking on St. John's, that's the case.
Travelers ball here on Sannon. That's a great point, because I think a lot of people are going to point to the 4th foul that was picked up by Michael Ajayi early in the second half, but the lack of ball handling probably played a bigger story than anything else tonight for Butler.
Yeah, you look at turnovers just in the second half, 12 for Butler, 20 for the game. 23 points off turnovers for St. John's. Both these teams, big question marks at point guard. Depth for Butler and just who's going to emerge and be that guy. Interestingly enough, Dylan Darling has not played for St. John's tonight. Trying to mix things up with the lineup. Darling plays about 18 minutes a game. And more Leotopoulos.
Robinson's pass batted out of bounds by Ejiofor. Oh, they mixed their lineup a little bit. For the first time in 13 games, St. John's went with a 3 big lineup instead of a 3 guard to counter Butler's rebounding ability, and it certainly works.
Yes. Those 6 offensive rebounds for Butler.
Another Dogs turnover, their 21st tonight. Previous season high was 17. St. John's has a way of making you turn the ball over.
Yeah, no doubt. Everything is contested. Get you playing sped up.
Sellers cans the mid-range jumper.
Big time second half for St. John's.
As Jack scoops it out in reverse. Rick Pitino takes the timeout, 1:18 to go. It's a big bounce back performance for St. John's tonight. You're coming off your first Big East loss of the season in a game that you probably should have won. You led for 36 minutes tonight. To come on the road, a place that's not easy to play, you're tied at halftime, and a phenomenal second half is going to lift you to a win on the road.
You said it. There was definitely some urgency from that guy right there. You could feel it at shoot-around that St. John's was going to be locked in tonight. Just been a frustrating start to this season. I mean, we talked about it to start the broadcast. 9-5, preseason top 5 team, but 4 of their 5 losses they led at halftime. And so they're close. Looked like a top 5 team in this second half.
Couple games coming up on Peacock in the near future for St. John's. They've got Marquette and Xavier in the next 5, 2 teams that are on the lower end of the Big East, but a couple big challenges with Creighton, Villanova, and how good has Seton Hall been this year?
Seton Hall has been terrific, and don't sleep on that Creighton game this Saturday. Creighton was one of the teams that was able to beat St. John's a year ago. It was in Omaha. No Ryan Kalkbrenner, so a little bit of a different Creighton team, but still, it's going to be a rocking environment in Omaha.
Sellers with 10 on the shot clock, rises from the mid-range and sticks it. You mentioned the 9-5 record for St. John's. They've already matched their loss total from a season ago. It's a very different team. They had the high expectations of preseason top 5 in the country, but you got a feeling if they can figure it out, they can do some damage.
Absolutely. You said they lost to Iowa State and Alabama. They sound like they're losing to these 4 teams. And St. John's has been in control of some of these games.
You said it right off the top tonight. 4 of their 5 losses they led in the second half. Ejiofor for three. In and out, rebound, Bizjack, shot clock turned off. Butler can get one more look at it. Bizjack at the buzzer, it goes. All that does is make it a 14-point game instead, and a dominant second half for St. John's tonight gets it done.
St. John's needed it. They played with that urgency and let their defense be portable and bringing that thing to Indianapolis. Really, really disruptive 40 minutes of basketball, leading to some easy points in the open floor. Heck of a performance from Rick Pitino's Red Storm.
They forced 13 Butler turnovers in the second half, 21 for the game, and the offense goes 17 of 32 from the field, and they go plus 14 in the second half after being tied at halftime. Important road win for St. John's tonight as they bounce back from a loss over the weekend. A big thank you to our producer, Aaron Bollendorf, and the rest of our phenomenal NBC Sports crew. For Nick Baugh, I'm Noah Reed saying so long from Indianapolis. UCLA and Wisconsin is coming up next right here on Peacock.